at Crystal Palace. They stay in 6th place, Manchester United, but as you can see, even with maximum points, it takes them up to 64 potentially. You wouldn't think it's going to be enough for Champions League football next season, but it looks like with that victory that Erik ten Hag will have European football in his first season at Manchester United. Brentford in 14th, they have 40 points, normally the magic number you would say. They should be safe with that mark, but you can see what's happening below them. Burnley picking up 3 consecutive victories. Everton with that priceless victory at the weekend as well. Norwich are down. Watford almost down. Fulham up as champions of the Championship tonight. And tomorrow night we might get a clue as to who will join them. Much more to come from Roy Keane picking his best Manchester United Premier League 11 late. Most difficult of seasons for them. 3-0 victory over Brentford, who had more attempts tonight. 12 to United's 9, but United with 5 to the Bees 4 on target. But they did, Brentford, find a way into the United box 24 times. Only 3 visiting sides to Old Trafford have had more touches in the opposition box this season, and United with 646 successful passes. Just the second time this season they've gone above 600. For context, Manchester City have done it 19 times. But possession up for Manchester United tonight from 35 against Chelsea last Thursday, almost double, 65 tonight against Brentford. Roy Keane is with us along with Jamie Carraghher. Did Ronaldo's buzz from the start really typify that performance, do you think, tonight for Manchester United?
Well, yeah. Well, he started well and they scored early, which always helps. You get your nose in front. But again, I'll go back to Brentford. They've had a very good season, but I thought they were dreadful tonight. It looked like Old Trafford was a bit too much for them. It looked like they were overawed. Gave Man United too much respect. And a very comfortable night for United.
But it might have been different had they taken 1 or 2 of those chances in the first half.
Yeah, well, United give chances to every team they play. But it's about taking them chances, showing you a bit of quality. And we saw the stats there, balls into the box, whatever, the amount of occasions, but they didn't show that. They weren't clinical, they did show that quality. But they did have chances, particularly in the first half. Tony's header was a great opportunity. But other than that, United, comfortable, OK, 2 set pieces in the second half. But it was very, very easy for them.
Did the opening goal relax them, do you think, Jamie?
Yeah, yes, but I don't think it was a nervous type of performance. I mean, it was almost, as we've said before the game, there was a sort of end-of-season feel to the game. There has been for the last few games, certainly the one midweek against Chelsea as well. But Alanga's a player who's come in, and you just wanted to look at the sort of movement. He's the one who's almost benefited from United having a poor season. You know, in that he's probably got in where he's probably not expected to. There's still probably question marks as he got the quality, but there's definitely the enthusiasm and the pace there. Brilliant movement, and you just see Fernandes over that far side. Talking about defenders switch off, just switch off at the back post, gets in between the wing back and the wide centre back. So they don't cover themselves in glory, but from Manchester United's point of view, it's a really good goal. It really is. I mean, Roy, on Alanga, I mean, what are your thoughts on him and sort of how he's done this season?
Jimmy, I just like the fact he likes to run in behind. Because we see a lot of teams who want to play in front of the opposition, and particularly with the centre halves that Brentford have got. They're not obviously not the quickest, and they'll want balls in front of him. But he likes to get in behind, and I love that. That's that desire to get in behind. We saw as well for the second goal, Ronaldo. Stretch teams. If you play in front of teams all the time, it's very, very easy. And again, it's very simple but very effective. But you have to do it, obviously, pick the right times, which you did there. Beautiful goal. Really enjoyed that.
Shows real pace and purpose, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he's edged himself ahead of Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, which is, well, obviously Marcus had a difficult spell. He's been very, very poor. But again, when you think of Rashford, when he first got in the team, Rashford used to do that quite a bit. But now he stopped running in behind. He wants to get on the ball. He wants to get a feel for it. And again, you ask Jamie, when you're defending and people are playing in front of you all the time, it's quite easy. It's when they're sprinting behind you that's can cause you all sorts of problems, especially if you mix your game up, which he does well.
We're talking about a player here, Alanga, who's just come into the team, and he's obviously going to get better the longer he's in the team. But you think of sort of the impact Rashford had when he first come into the team and the goals he got. Now, I wouldn't say Alanga right now is top quality and that's going to take Manchester United to another level. He's a young player. Rashford the same. Do you think Rashford has almost hit his ceiling at Manchester United in terms of, like, we've not seen the best of him, but would he ever have that quality to take United to a title or a Champions League? Is he just short? Yeah,
he's certainly a bit short in confidence. We've seen the quality before, but we've not seen it for a year or two now. And I go back to it. I think he's took his eye off the ball, whatever is off the field stuff, and that's what I keep an eye on with young players all the time. And Listen, Rashford's been around a few years now and he's got that experience. He's played international football, but he's lost that. He doesn't mix his game up. It doesn't look like he's matured well enough. He doesn't mix his game up. We've seen a few games recently where, even when he's playing at Liverpool and he's playing up through the middle, I said he played like a child, as if he's not learned. He's not learned about the game. He's just again drifting. I think he's lost the hunger. These young players get a lot of big money and good luck to him, but I think he's lost the eye of the tiger and he's struggling to get it back. And where Man United want to go, Marcus certainly has been left behind. Again, he's left out again tonight. He must be sitting on the bench going, where's it all gone wrong for me? But he can get it back. He's shown it before. But when you do lose it, sometimes it is hard to get it back. And I think he's got to get the hunger back into his game and make runs like we've seen tonight from Young and Lange, where they're a bit more innocent and they're a bit hungry to succeed. I think Rashford has lost that bit of hunger, which is huge for a player. But he is a talent, but we're not seeing it.
What about winning the penalty? Was that classic Ronaldo?
Yeah, of course. Again, the height of stupidity in terms of the defending. But Ronaldo, but this is, again, it's a
First half?
Yeah, I wasn't sure about the one in the first half. I think that one is obviously a definite pen. And I think Gary had it spot on in commentary in terms of it was the ego of the defender. You've knocked me off. I want to try and show me strength again. And Ronaldo's running with the ball and he's just thinking, tackle me.
He's got his mates coming across, Jamie.
I know.
You have to think your mates, he's made a mistake, which is fine. Everyone makes mistakes. Football is about mistakes. But when you make a mistake, you hope your mate will cover for you. Instead of
Don't make another one.
Don't make it. Then he barges into the back of him and you got VAR, so any sort of contact. And he's on the floor there looking.
And he knows then he's got the chance of a penalty. Do you feel when Ronaldo is about to take a penalty, it's almost a guaranteed goal?
Well, he's missed one or two in his career, obviously. But tonight you just felt he wasn't going to miss. Again, last game at Old Trafford, Brentford aren't at it. Tonight, I certainly didn't think he was going to miss this penalty. Absolutely not. And we saw him at half-time. He was frustrated with the goal that was disallowed. He was always going to score.
He was. I thought he was brilliant tonight. Obviously, Gary gave him man of the match. And we spoke before the game about it. A lot of United games almost feel like a testimony. It almost felt like it was an exhibition game and Ronaldo would come back to play, like the legends do. And it was sort of back heels and flicks around the corner. And listen, there wasn't nothing on the game as such in terms of, for both teams really. But sort of watching Ronaldo and the back heels and the flicks, you could see the crowd enjoying it. He just wanted that goal to finish it off and he deserved it.
But isn't it mad, Jamie? We've been discussing it. You're playing, there's 3 games to go. You're playing for Man United and there's nothing to play for. That must be bizarre. That's called set play.
He's waiting for the contact.
Of course he is. He's clever.
He says, I'm staying.
Was that the little message there?
Message to Eric already.
We might come back to Ronaldo a little bit later on this evening. One of those nights where everyone was trying to get involved in the action, and even Rafael Varane gets his goal. I say even because it's his first for Manchester United.
Yeah, of course. And again, we go back to the set piece and delivery, and again, wanting to score a goal. Brentford, we can't say the delivery was fantastic, but again, players not attacking it. And Varane, not make him feel better. He's had a tough old season. He's 1 or 2 injury problems, and I think COVID. But listen, he'll be pleased with that.
Do you think there are positives? OK, got his goal there. Do you think there are positives in the Varane-Lindelof combination at the back?
There could be, but I still think whoever comes in will be looking for another centre-half. I think Lindelof he's let United down far too many times. OK, he's done well tonight, but I still think a centre-half will be, I think, an important sign for United. He's not getting any younger. I think it's been difficult for him, but I'd certainly expect him to be a regular next year, if he obviously can avoid any injuries.
Brentford beaten tonight. Let's hear from their head coach, Thomas Frank, with Greg Whelan. Next for Brentford, and they also have to play Everton and Leeds United, 2 sides below them. A reminder that 19 years since a team with 40 points was relegated.
West Ham.
Yep. Can they relax?
Absolutely not. No. Well, they relaxed tonight, and look what happened to them.
Bigger picture, Brentford. Assuming that you agree with Roy that they're safe on 40 points? You're not so sure.
I didn't say they were safe. No, I said they relaxed before the game. Don't you get it backfires? No, they can't relax. No, of course. I think they need another result. Do you?
I think one more will just sort of calm their nerves. Can Everton get to... Well, Everton would have to get 9 points. I mean, Everton have certainly got 2 winnable home games. They're away at Watford as well. So I mean, we said last week, didn't we, sort of 37, 38 to keep you up, but the fact that Burnley and Everton got sort of big wins as well, that you maybe weren't quite expecting.
Well, given that Brentford are playing Southampton, you wouldn't want to lose that game, would you?
No.
But I just think what will concern the manager, they've gone away from what they're really good at, and that's having a go and being aggressive. Don't switch off now, absolutely not, because you can.
Should we save the plaudits for Brentford then?
Well, they've had a very good season. They've had a very good season, a promoted team. They've done very, very well, but get the job done. Don't finish it off over the next few weeks.
All right, not quite there yet is the verdict on Brentford. Right, when we come back, more a little bit from the open heart surgery, which we was talking about a couple of weeks. But the good news is that Manchester United are well covered in the goalkeeper department. It just sounds like they need a lot of other players. Could be a really busy summer. How will Ralph Rangnick be remembered, Roy?
I think it was tough. He said there he's disappointed. There was no consistency over the last few months, and I'm sure he'd be hurting. But it was a difficult job for him, a difficult role. He'd done his best, but it just wasn't good enough. But difficult circumstances for him.
If you remember, Jamie, when he came in, we talked a lot, and we heard a lot as well about the new tactical approach that he was going to bring to this job, even in the short term. How do you reflect on what we've actually seen in reality?
Well, that's not a Ralph Rangnick team. And let's not forget, Ralph Rangnick isn't really a manager. He's a director of football. He's someone who probably helps the coaches or builds a club. And that's to talk about maybe the role he's in, which I'll be honest with you, I just don't get that. I don't think you can be manager of Austria, if that's 100% true, and work for Man United. You can work for Man United in that role.
Well, it is true.
Well, that's wrong. That should not be happening. The manager of Austria should not then be working part-time for Man United. That's just a nonsense. It's one or the other. But in terms of the actual job he's done, he hasn't been able to implement what he was brought in to do, which is to play a certain way, which is linked to sort of a Jurgen Klopp way or a Tuchel. And we thought it would be in game one. Now, whether that's the players have just said, we're not doing it, the players are not capable of doing it, which I don't think they are really, when you actually look at the squad that they've got. To play his type of football that we see the top teams in the league play now or in European football, there would have to be a lot of changes. They're not suited to that type of football. But I think he'd be very disappointed. And the thing that's really telling about Ralph Rangnick's probably disappointment or maybe anger is it feels like every press conference he does just goes a little bit further in terms of being critical of the setup of the club and the actual players. And I wouldn't be surprised if it went a little bit longer going forward, because we asked for him to speak to us, didn't we, tonight? And,
we did.
We'd love to have got him in and maybe, speak not about making big headlines, but sort of tactically, this was your idea, this is your plan. You haven't been able to get that across to the players or have a team in your image. Why was that? But
we were also interested in asking questions about the way forward, I think, and how this would work, this dual role. Jamie's obviously sceptical about how that might work, but is there an argument that actually his most important work for Manchester United could be in the months ahead?
Yeah, but
if he is skilled at building recruitment.
But I think he could do that over the next few weeks. I think that can be just a short term where he's just passing on the information, what he's found working with the players. A lot of them are going to move on. But it's the idea that he needs to stay on as a consultant. I don't see it either, because how many people do you need at your club to be passing down advice to the manager? He's going to bring his own staff. They've got a technical director, they've got a chief executive, they'll have a scouting network. Surely the manager's going to be looking at that. So why, again, how many opinions do you need? But I think obviously he can help the manager when he first comes in with a few phone calls. But this idea that he can work 1 or 2 days a month and help Man United, I don't see it either.
I think we should address the elephant in the room as well. And it's fair to say that you two haven't always seen eye to eye on Ronaldo and why he was brought into the club and whether that's been successful. And, we're seeing him tonight. He's the man of the match. Ralph Rangnick has talked about it being very much the next manager's decision as to whether he will be around. Are you certain that Ronaldo should be at that football club next season?
Well, I do, yes, my own personal opinion. But obviously we don't know what's going on in the background. Ronaldo's body language tonight, even at the end of the game, certainly wasn't suggesting that he was leaving. I just look at the goals he's got, his performances warrant staying at the club. But Man United have to get players around him. They have to get other strikers in there. There has to be competition for places. If your leading goal scorer, the man you're depending on, is 37 years of age, then that's certainly not good. But I would certainly be holding on to Ronaldo. You might have to have the conversation, of course, the way you're going to play, or you're not going to be playing week in, week out. But why would you get rid of a player who scores that many goals? I don't see the logic in it.
18 league goals this season, Jamie. So do you still see, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it felt like earlier in the season you were talking about him as the problem for Manchester United rather than the solution.
No, my thing with Cristiano Ronaldo is that what he's doing at 37, he's 38 next year, it's unbelievable for a player at that age to still be scoring this goals. And never mind scoring this many goals, actually playing for Man United, playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world at 37. When do we see that? My problem has always been with Man United for buying Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't think one of the biggest clubs in the world that Manchester United are should be buying someone who's 37. He's still got his 20 odd goals. I said on this show, the first, after he'd been bought, he will score 20, 25 goals this season, but I don't think he'll get United any closer to the title in the position that they're in. Now, I've always been of the opinion that they should try and move him on. But right now, I might change that in the fact that I think there's that many sort of problems at Manchester United, what Ranieri's talking about. Well, at least if you've got Ronaldo, UK, well, we've got someone up there who's going to get us 20 goals. I still need to sort midfield out. I need to sort centre-back. There's that many players. There's 5 players leaving on a free. So, but going forward in terms of actually what the new manager would want from his team, you've just said, Roy, then that they need to bring strikers in. I think it's very difficult for a new manager to bring... who do you bring in? Man United need strikers. So the two they've got now is, I think, 35 and 37. Ronaldo's 38 next season. But we've seen this season, when Ronaldo doesn't play or gets brought off, it's a massive story. It was a massive problem for Ollie, I think, against Everton early on the season. There was one where, I think, even with Ranieri, he came off against Brentford. And I just think, if you're bringing strikers in, are they to play or are they to back up Ronaldo? And I think even at this stage, if you're the new manager, you might think, I've got enough problems on my plate. I don't need to create another one, bring in a striker in for 30, 40 million. Even as backup, you need to give him games. But then Ronaldo becomes a story again. It might be a case of actually, Ronaldo's got another year to go. I'm going to sort other positions out. This guy's going to get me 20 goals.
But Jamie, I think a top manager will come in and have that conversation with Ronaldo. And when he is brought off, you said to him, but you have to cut that rubbish out, like at Brentford, where he's shaking his head for 10 or 15 minutes after coming off. That's where Ronaldo has to be more mature and be a better leader. Yeah, we've said it before. Of course, you're disappointed when you come off, but don't keep it up. Don't keep it up for 1 or 2 days. That's where you got to sort that maturity out. And when you do have the conversation, if you make it clear to him, a top manager, go, that won't be tolerated. And if he's not buying into that, then you go, well, you're not going to be part of my plans.
But he wouldn't buy into that, Roy, would he? I mean, I think that's my thing. I just think, what would you do if you were Ten Hag coming? You've got one of the biggest names in the world. You know.
But Jamie, what I'd say to Ronaldo, when he went off against Brentford, a good example, and he's coming off and he's shaking his head, like, that's the bit I don't get. You're Ronaldo. We've took you off. We're in a winning position, and actually the sub who came on for you scored a goal. Ronaldo, even at your age, 37, and you have to learn the hard way. Even Ronaldo has to look at the bigger picture. So you're only coming off for 20 minutes. I've not left you out for 2 or 3 games. When he was left out was it Man City away and Chelsea, and again brought on against Everton when they won it up and they ended up drawing. He came on against Chelsea when United won it up and they ended up drawing the game. It's not as if he came on and got over the line and helped them win a match. So that's the bit you've got to get hold of and say, you've got to be mature. You've got to look at the bigger picture and see where we're going. And again, I go back to, but if he's thinking, no, I want to play every minute and every game, you go, well, that's rubbish at your age now anyway.
I just think, my thing is, like, I see Manchester United as one of the super clubs of world football. And I just look at the other ones of, say, like Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool, you know, the ones who've won Champions Leagues, even Liverpool right now. Would Liverpool go and bring back Luis Suarez? I don't think they would, even if they knew he was going to get 20 goals. It's like, Man United, for me, should be buying Haaland this summer. Man City getting Haaland. Whereas United have got Ronaldo, who's a legend, one of the best goal scorers of all time. I get that. But it made me think United were a small club. Almost reminds me a little bit of Wayne Rooney going back to Everton. So Everton know they're not going to sort of win something when Rooney comes back, but it gives everyone a lift, the fans. Wayne's happy to come back. It almost feels like it was
a short-term fix. Yeah, it was a short-term fix, wasn't it? Just for the fans and maybe for the share price and all that. Yeah, but he still obviously scored the goals which he thought he would be. But as you said, Jim, I think Man United have got bigger problems than obviously Ronaldo. But it's something that has to be obviously looked at.
There are suggestions that Erik ten Hag is already speaking to one or two players. Do you think he would have been the first one he called?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, you would have thought so. If he's going to get lads on side and he's a senior player, he's a huge player, yeah, he'd be one of the first players you speak to, of course.
We'll see what happens, won't we, on the next 2 games and what's going to be an absolutely fascinating summer around Old Trafford. But we're not done here yet on